I'm Gabriel, and this is Black Forest Comics Weekly Review, episode number 45. We are trucking right along, people. We are going like Pokemon. So let's talk about this week's comics, as well as some comics that are coming out next week, as well as some news that happened. So let's get started with this week's comics. Now, between this week and next week, there's going to be so many good choices that it's going to be really hard to pick just 4 comics. So again, it came down to me putting 8 or 10 good comics on a table and blindly picking the 4. So that's what we have today. I hope you enjoy them. They're all really good, solid comics. So let's go ahead and get started with the first one. Civil War Kingpin, issue number 1. Now this is going to be a direct tie-in to the Civil War story event. This is going to be a 4-part series that ties into Civil War. And this one is about Kingpin coming back to New York. You got to remember, Kingpin's been out for a while. Ever since Marvel did their reboot, we haven't heard from Kingpin. He's been locked up. I don't know if it's in the same continuity as the TV show of Daredevil. I'm not sure. But we have Kingpin coming back to New York, trying to take over from nothing. He literally has nothing. He's trying to get the favor of the people. And the people of New York do love Kingpin because he did for them what the heroes didn't do. Yeah, the heroes came in and they fought for our rights and they fought these bad criminals and did all this, but Kingpin was on the ground helping the people of New York, helping the individuals, getting to know their names. That's what made him a good villain. I know I'm kind of going on a Kingpin rant. I like the guy. He's pretty awesome. So anyway, what happens in this issue is Kingpin's coming back, and he finds this guy named Janus. And Janus, and if you're familiar with the Civil War, Ulysses has the power to kind of analyze and predict what he thinks is going to happen in the future. Janus has this ability to block whatever predictions are going to happen. No one can see him. He's kind of like an anomaly in the whole universe of Marvel visionary psychics and whatnot. He can't be seen. And so Kingpin is using that to his advantage, and he's rebuilding the underworld around him. He is becoming the Kingpin again. So that's issue number 1 for Civil War II Kingpin short run series. All right, second one, Walking Dead, issue number 156. Oh my gosh, this was freaking amazing. A lot of it was Negan getting into the Whisperers camp, becoming one of the Whisperers over a week or 2 weeks or so, just doing all these activities, become accepted by them, and then finally having this moment with the Alpha Whisperer, you know, her breaking down, saying, I am weak, you know, we're supposed to be strong, and I let them have my daughter. And Negan's like, I lost somebody I love. Then I lost all my emotions. I'm right here. I'm Negan. That's me. And it's pretty cool. And then he gets very intimate with her, like he's holding her, and she's saying, I'm weak. And then she's telling Negan, maybe you are strong. Maybe we do need you here. And Negan at the very end is like, you know what? I don't need you. And he slits her throat. Oh my gosh, I thought this dude was going to become the king, the alpha of the Whisperers. Dude chops off her head, is holding her head at the very end and saying, I wonder how happy this is going to make Rick. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Negan. So yeah, we're going to find out in issue 157. 156. Pick that up. It's a good comic. It's a really good comic. All right, next up. This isn't our kid comic. This is our adult comic. DC's continuing with the same vein as they were with the Wacky Erasers and the other one. Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, where they're now for us, for the adults, to enjoy the cartoons that we grew up with as kids. And this one, it talks about how Fred, really, it's just Fred and Barney. It's almost like an episode of the Flintstones, except they're having to deal with serious issues. Like when they go to the Water Buffalo Club meeting, it's actually a war veterans meeting where they're like breaking down, talking about, you know, this war that they had to come to Bedrock to establish it as a colony, how they had to fight all these Cro-Magnums, and how a lot of people died. And Fred's talking about how he saw this guy die in his arms. It's pretty intense. So that, you know, it's really not for kids. You don't want to, you know, expose them to that type of PTSD this early. Leave that for the news. So yeah, that's Flintstones issue number 1. It's a really good series. there's these 3 Cro-Magnons that are getting introduced into Mr. Slate's foundry, and Mr. Slate leaves it up to Fred to show them the ropes, make them convinced to be here and work for low wages, because they're Cro-Magnons. They really don't want money. They just want experience. And so he's like, okay, we can get them in. And Mr. Slate ends up having a big party at his house. And one of the Cro-Magnons, there's a, what are the guys called with the elephants with the tusk? The mammoth. The woolly mammoth is on the ice, and Mr. Slate's like, go over there and kill that guy. I'll give you this necklace if you do. So the Cro-Magnon guy's like, okay. So he goes, and Fred's like, this isn't a good idea, Mr. Slate. And he goes, and he ends up breaking the ice, falling in, and dying. And so Mr. Slate says, okay, party's over. Sorry about, what happened. Things happen. And the Cro-Magnons are like, okay, well, we're not going to come back to work for you. We're sorry. This isn't what we wanted. We don't want to die. And yeah, so that's that. And then it switches over to Wilma. Wilma is an artist, and she got accepted to this High Art Society art show. And she goes there. They end up putting her work outside with the outside artist, and they're just bashing on her work. And she breaks down. She tells Fred what her painting, it was called Hands, what her painting, what it really means to her, how it was the last of what she had of her family. It's really deep. It's really emotional. So that's Flintstones issue number 1. Check that one out. It's a really good one. All right, next up, last one for our kids comic, Sonic Mega Drive issue number 1. If you're familiar with the Sonic video game, this is exactly what that was. This was a Sonic video game. A lot of the Sonic comics, like Sonic Universe, Sonic the Hedgehog, they have a storyline and continuity that keeps on going. This one was pretty much just a video game. Sonic and Tails were trying to defeat Dr. Eggman. Dr. Eggman was trying to collect these ancient gears to create a new machine to defeat Sonic. Sonic and Tails beat them up at every level and get the ancient gears for themselves. So that's it. It was a good series. It's a one-shot, but it's opening the door for a new series coming out in November called Sonic Mega Drive Next Level. All right, so check that one out in November. Sonic Mega Drive number 1. Check that out right now. All right, so that's this week's comics. Let's talk about what's coming out next week. Okay, so we got a whole bunch of good comics, again, coming up next week. I'm just going to hit on a couple of them here. Army of Darkness, Furious Road number 4 or 5 is coming out. So that's coming to, number 5 of 6, I'm sorry. Number 5 of 6 is coming out next week. So it's getting close to the end there. So it's been a cool series so far, so check that one out. Bloodshot Reborn, issue number 15. Now they're on the Bloodshot Island being chased down by the Death Angel. So that's been a really cool series. Now here's a big thing I want to tell you. On Tuesday the 12th, we are having a midnight release party. So we'll be here from Tuesday the 12th to Wednesday the 13th from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. We're going to be here for those 2 hours, and we're going to have a 50% off on the toys sale. So if you want to come in and save on some toys, that would be the time from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning. We're going to do a midnight release, and at midnight we're going to release the new Civil War issue number 3. Now what's going to be cool about this is for this midnight release, we're going to have a special variant cover just for that release. All right, so check that out. It's only going to be available at midnight, and only a select number, only a certain number of comics that we get. Also, they got the toys at 50% off, so be here for that. Great time to save on toys. Great time to pick up some comics. So yeah, it's going to be midnight the 12th, Tuesday the 12th to Wednesday the 13th. So check that one out. Civil War issue number 3. Somebody big is going to die, and because the internet's already seen how the new, Iron Girl is coming out, it's probably going to be Iron Man that's going to die. And when he dies, it's going to be it. It's going to be game over. He's going to be dead. All right, so that's that. Civil War number 3 coming out. Dark Knight Master Race number 5 Collector's Edition is coming out. They released number 5 a couple of weeks ago, so they always release a Collector's Edition a couple of weeks after that, so that's going to be coming out. Deadpool issue number 15 for all you Deadpool fans. Dungeons and Dragons issue number 3. The cool thing about this one, it's following along with the Curse of Strahd game, so check that one out. It's pretty awesome. Guardians of the Galaxy number 10 is coming out. Harrow County number 14 in Harrow County, man. Colin Bunn, you cannot fail. Well, I guess you could if you didn't try, but you're trying, so you're doing good. Thanks, Colin Bunn. Lady Death. It's a new one from Brian Polita, remember, he's got the intellectual property rights back to Lady Death, and he's putting a new Lady Death series out called Lady Death Damnation Game. Issue number 1 will be coming out next week. Also, next week we're getting the introduction of the new Superman, issue number 1. Now, this isn't going to be our Superman that we know, the Clark Kent from the original Superman. This is going to be the Asian Superman. He's going to be in the new Superman position. There's 5 different Superman. You got Lois Lane Superman, that guy's a Superman. The original Clark Kent's a Superman. Lana Lang's a Superwoman. Everybody has Superman powers now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they were thinking with that. Come on, DC, get with it. Ninjak number 17. Paybacks, issue number 1 is coming out. Power Man Iron Fist number 6 is coming out. And then another cool one is going to wrap it up with this one. Powerpuff Girls issue number 1 is coming out next week. So there's a whole bunch of cool issues to check out. Remember, we're doing the midnight release on the 12th. Leading into the 13th. A lot of shops are doing it. Check with your local comic book shop. So that's that. Let's talk about some news. All right, in the news, we do want to say our condolences to the people of Dallas, to the police officers that did lose their lives yesterday. These are unfortunate events that do not need to happen. Love is all that we need. We don't need to preach individualism. We need to preach togetherism. We need to have love and unity. That's all we need. So our condolences to the families, the friends of the people that lost their lives. All right, so moving forward, CW has recently confirmed that Netflix is going to be contracted with them only. So no longer are we going to have The Flash or Green Arrow on Hulu. That's right, they're no longer going to be with Hulu. They're going to be on Netflix. Now, they're not going to be released at the same time that you had with Hulu, where it was the next day you can see them, which kind of sucks because that's the way I saw them. So now they're going to be released maybe a week or so later is what we're hoping. They haven't said when exactly, but that's what we're hoping for. So we'll see what they say. And also CW picked up Constantine as well. So CW has the rights to it, so that's pretty cool. Also, Pokemon Go is not live in America, but if you are a pirate, you have it already and you've been playing it. And if you're in the Seguin area, you've probably seen Forest Comics somewhere. That was me, Team Mystic. So here's what we want to caution. Right away when you open up the app, it tells you be cautious of your surroundings, always look around. I cannot reiterate enough. Please don't drive with your Pokemon Go session going and like, oh man, there's a Squirtle, oh man, there's a Machop, and please don't swerve. Walk. It's meant for you to walk. You get out of your car. It's good for you, good for your health, good for your life. Now, I am guilty of driving around with my son, but this is my son and me. This is our thing at night. This is what we do till about midnight because it's summer. So we'll drive around and we'll go to gyms, try to claim gyms, go to all the Pokestops. Pokemon Go is pretty addicting. I don't know if you tried it. I don't know if you're a fan of Pokemon, but oh my gosh, it's addicting. So yeah, that's the news for this week. Let us know what you're reading. Let us know what you want to talk about, and we'll see you next week. Don't look at me. How's my nose? No? We got to edit all this. Edit it all. Edit it all. All right.